Alrighty then. So here we go. Welcome to Talk with Trey, and I will be your host. My name is Trey Star with 2 R's, and I want to begin this video with a disclaimer. Although I am the reigning Mr. Sweetheart International, MI, the opinions, the topics, the comments, the discussions, anything within the context of this broadcast production does not necessarily reflect that of the Sweetheart International pageantry system. So, I wanted to begin by, first let me say, this is just a sneak peek. This is not the actual show. Let me just say, this is right now, I'm in my living room and just with my really good camera and a tripod, I'm learning video editing, and I have somebody else that I'm going to be working with to help produce the show. So as time goes on, it's going to get better. Stick with me and you'll see it gets greater later. So what this show is going to be primarily about is it's going to be a forum for us in the transgender community and us who are of transgender experience to discuss just issues that are facing our community. And we want to have open and honest dialogue, and in all things we want to remain respectful. This is also going to be a space for our allies to ask questions and for them to get information as well so that they can support us. We provide support to them and they'll be able to support us. Okay? You see me looking over here. I have my bullet points up on a laptop, and that's what I'm doing. So, got past that. And so, some topics of discussion. I want to begin by giving just a little snippet of my journey as a transgender male. I think a lot of times when we talk about being transgender, people want to, or a lot of conversations that I receive, a lot of conversations that I hear people perceive being transgender as a lifestyle. And a lifestyle, just for clarification, a lifestyle is something that you choose. I.e. being a bodybuilder, being a vegan, being a vegetarian. These are things that people choose. Being transgender is nothing that anybody chooses. I personally didn't wake up and say, oh, I think I want to be alienated by a whole side of my family. I want society to debate on whether or not I should be able to walk into a bathroom. I want to be misgendered in public and have it feel like a dagger to my stomach. Nobody wakes up. This is a hard life, and it is not for the faint of heart. So if you are watching this and you are assuming that, oh, well, he just chose that, they just choose that, whatever, you're wrong, and you need to step back, because this is not something that we choose. I just want to get that out of the way. And going forward, I will have different people on here, and we'll be talking about like I said, we're going to be talking about issues that face the transgender community, issues within the transgender community, and we'll also probably be discussing some issues that exist within the LGB community as well. And you will hear me always say LGB community, lesbian, gay, bisexual. That is not to exclude anybody who is asexual, pansexual, queer, or anything else that falls under that umbrella. I simply don't believe that transgender, or even if you believe the T stands for two-spirit, I'm not a person who believes that that belongs under that umbrella of sexualities. So, but those individuals and our community, we will be discussing issues that face us as a whole, because we are viewed as a subculture in America. That's real garbled, but I hope y'all get the gist of what I'm saying. Some more topics I would like to discuss. Gaining and losing family. What it's like being in a relationship. For instance, if you are a transgender man and you start off identifying, say, as a stud or a butch lesbian, and then later on you figure out that you are actually transgender, what does that relationship look like for you if you end up staying with the person that you were with when you were identifying as a lesbian? I know a lot of people have issues reconciling their sexual identity with their partner's gender identity. Um, and what that means is, well, I started off being a lesbian, but now he's transitioned to a man. What does that make me? So I think I would be very interested to hear from different people on their perspectives and that. I would like to talk about pronouns and their importance because I know a lot of people feel like that's not really a thing and labels are made to divide people, but there are reasons for it. I personally can see both sides of it, but there are reasons for pronouns. And I would be very interested to hear from both sides on that. So we'll have people talk from both sides of that issue. I want to talk about clocking. And if you don't know what clocking means, basically clocking somebody's T is like if they're out in public or whatever and somebody's like, oh, that's a man, and it's a transgender woman, but they're like, oh, they used to be a man, then that's clocking their T. I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about why it's so dangerous, because a lot of people don't understand like what the issue with it is, but it is a huge issue. It's a safety issue. And I want to talk about why it is that it seems to be so rampant in the LGBT community itself. I would like to talk about why I keep saying all the time. Take a shot every time I say just kidding. So I would like to talk about how employment looks for transgender individuals. How it is trying to live stealth and also trying to get a job when sometimes your documents may not match. Like if you, for example, if you have a name change and you have your license, your social security card, all your credit cards changed over, but say you didn't go as far as to get your birth certificate changed. So then that license doesn't match that birth certificate. What does that look like for you? How can we support? How can we help somebody get past that? How can we help them to figure that out? I would like to talk about that. I would like to talk about being a trans person and being a person who does compete in pageantry. A lot of times there's a stigma that comes along with that. Being a transgender male, there are some studs who feel like, because in pageantry there wasn't always MI. It's a newer thing for everybody to start to call it MI. It started off being stud and femme pageants. So a lot of studs feel like now, well, we're left behind because, we're supposed to be alluding to male, but if, you guys are having your top surgery, you're growing your facial hair, your voices are deep, what's left for us? So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of females on the other side of that spectrum who compete in pageantry as trans women, and the other performers feel like, well, if I'm a boy in my day-to-day life and you're a woman, what are you alluding to? You already have your breasts. Some of them may have bottom surgery. You don't have to tuck. This isn't fair. So I would like to talk about that, and I would like to get both sides of that. I realize that those are conversations that could get very heated. I think that in all things, we should seek to understand before being understood. And I think it would be worth it to sit down and hear both sides of the spectrum on that. That'll probably be a 3 or 4 part series. I would like to talk about finding resources for transitioning. I can't speak for trans women and being a trans woman and trying to find resources. I can only speak on behalf of myself as a transgender male. And I can say that when I first began my transition, it was rough. It was rough because the only thing I had, thank God I had my wife, my beautiful wife, and I had my therapist. But outside of that, I didn't have any family support. I didn't have any support groups to go to. My therapist, God bless her, she's wonderful, but she didn't know where to point me. There was almost nothing she could, tell me. The best thing I remember, I don't know if it was her, if it was my wife. It was one of them that just kept telling me, well, you're going to have to create it for yourself because it doesn't exist. But what I've come to find out is it does exist, but a lot of things in Atlanta, in my experience as a trans male, is the trans community is very cliquey. And if you don't know this person or you don't know that person, you're not going to know anything about it. This year, I was fortunate enough to attend the BTAC mini conference in Georgia. I found out about it through Nick Coleman and Sebastian Smith. I was fortunate enough to attend that, and attending that conference opened a world of doors to me as far as resources go. And I am forever grateful for that. But it doesn't look like that for every trans man or every trans woman. So what I would like to do on this forum is to create a fountain of resources that they know they can come to this video, or they know that they can go on either one of my social media pages and they can find what it is that they're looking for as far as transitioning. So those are some of the topics that I'll be covering, that I'm interested in covering. If you as a viewer have anything that you're interested in hearing about, anything that you're interested in learning about as it relates to being trans experience, anything that falls under the LGBT umbrella, please feel free to comment it below this video. It's going to be uploaded on YouTube. I will share it again and again on Facebook and other social media platforms. So feel free to comment and let me know what it is that you want to talk about, what it is that you want to hear about, what you want to see. We're going to talk about bridging the gap. We're going to talk about bridging the gap between advocacy and pageantry, because I heard Sebastian say, he was on a show, I think, I can't remember what show he was on, but he was on a show and he was talking about how when you win a title, like I'm Mr. Sweetheart International MI. So when you win a title, it automatically kind of elevates your status. When you go to different clubs and stuff now people see your face because you won the pageant and they know like that you're the representative, they know who you are. So it elevates your status. So what your reign then becomes about is what it is that you do with that status. What I'm choosing to do with my status is elevate my level of advocacy. This is my way of bridging my gap from just being a trans man to becoming an advocate, because that's something I've been largely interested in. So this is what I'm using to do that as a stepping stone. I don't just want to be, he won the pageant. What did he do with it? This is it. So let's see. If you are interested in appearing on the show, it won't always be filmed in my living room with my good Nikon. It's going to be actual production on a set and all of that. So like I said, it gets greater later. Stick with me. So if you're interested on the show, I would love to have you. Please send me a message via Facebook. Send it via YouTube. Send it to me on Instagram. Get in touch with me and we'll do our best to make it happen. I want to say that the broadcast will be airing. The actual broadcast, this is just like a little mini info session. The actual broadcast itself will be airing the beginning of May, and it will air twice a month, so it'll be bi-weekly, and that's pretty much that's when it's gonna air. It's gonna air every month, but it's gonna begin in May. This is just like a mini sneak peek so you can see what it's gonna be all about. I want to thank you guys for sticking with me. I know this is maybe kind of choppy. I may say and a lot, look a little nervous or something like that. So thank you for taking time out of your busy day and watching. And I hope that you will join me again. So the first topic that we're going to actually cover is clocking and why it's so rampant in the LGBT community. So tune in next time. Tune in early May. I'm going to be putting out a release date. On May 3rd, I'll put out a release date as to when you can actually view the show. So follow me on Instagram at TStarboy. That's TSTARRBOY. Follow me on Facebook at Terrence Star. That's Terrence TERRANCE Star with 2 R's. Follow me on YouTube at Terrence M Star. So, or subscribe to my YouTube. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. And just tune in and stay with me. It gets greater later. And let me make sure I don't have anything else to cover here. So I don't have anything else to cover. But I would like to end the video with 2 quotes. Number 1, seek to understand before being understood. Number 2, be kind to everyone you meet, for everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Okay? So, see you next time.